What if I told you that one of the most bizarre wars in history wasn't fought between nations or armies, but between humans and birds? Yeah, you heard that right. Birds. This is the story of the Great Emu War, when Australia declared war on emus and lost. It all began in 1932. Australia was just coming out of the Great Depression, and returning soldiers from World War I were promised farmland by the government to help restart their lives. They took up farming in Western Australia, and everything seemed fine until the emus came. Emus, for those who don't know, are large, flightless birds native to Australia. They're fast, resilient, and can grow over 6 feet tall. Usually they live in the outback, but after heavy rains, they migrated by the thousands to the farmlands of Western Australia in search of food. The emus wreaked havoc on the farmers' crops. Over 20,000 of them trampled through wheat fields, destroying everything in sight. The farmers, already struggling, needed help. So they turned to the Australian government and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The plan? Shoot the emus and get rid of them. You'd think that with machine guns against birds, this would be an easy win. But that's where the story gets interesting. On November 2nd, 1932, the first encounter began. Major Meredith and his men spotted about 50 emus and started firing. The birds scattered immediately, running in all directions. It turns out emus are faster than you'd think, and hitting a moving target in the wild wasn't so easy. The soldiers fired several rounds but barely hit any birds. On the second attempt, they found a larger group of over 1,000 emus. They set up an ambush and opened fire, but the machine gun jammed after only 12 shots. The emus? They were completely unfazed and continued to destroy crops. Over the next several days, Meredith's troops continued to chase down emu groups, but the birds had learned to split into smaller groups, making them even harder to target. They could run up to 40 miles per hour, easily outpacing the soldiers. At one point, they even tried mounting the machine gun on a truck, but that was a disaster, as the rough terrain made it impossible to aim. By the end of the war, the soldiers had used over 2,500 rounds of ammunition and killed only a few hundred emus. Compare that to the 20,000 emus still rampaging through the fields, and it was clear the emus had won. The government eventually called off the operation. Major Meredith and his men retreated, and Australia surrendered to the emus. The war, which lasted about a month, was officially over. So, today, the Great Emu War is remembered as one of the most bizarre moments in military history. A strange chapter where nature proved too powerful for humans, even with modern weapons. It's a reminder that sometimes, no matter how advanced we think we are, nature always finds a way to win. And in the case of the Great Emu War, the birds had the last laugh.